Hello, this is the second video out on the Network Dummy channel, and today we'll be going over VLSM in IPv4 configuration. VLSM is an important concept you should understand if you intend to pass your CCNA. Again, this is the network topology we'll be working with. We have a router, we have 3 switches, and we have 5 end devices. Unlike the previous video, I have not given you any IP address to the devices here. You'll have to configure them yourselves. Now, as you can see here, the problem statement here states that you should configure IPv4 addresses on each PCs. Each color-coded area should have their own default gateway. They should also follow the CIDR notation below. Blue should have a CIDR notation of /25, red should have a CIDR notation of /26, and purple has a /30 CIDR notation. Once you're done configuring the IP addresses for each PCs, you can verify that the network is working by pinging other PCs in different subnets relative from PC 0. Again, like the previous exercise, you should first try to solve it yourselves, and if you can't, that's alright. I'll give you the answers to it right now. Okay, so the first thing that we should do is that we should use these /CIDR notations to tell us the network range of each subnet. And we should always start with the biggest ones first. /25 has 128 host addresses, available host addresses. So we can give it an IP address of 192.168.0.0 to 192.168.0.128. Sorry, 127. The next network range that we'll have to deal with is /26. A /26 has 64 available IP addresses, and we also have to make sure that it doesn't overlap with the blue subnet. With that being said, this is the network range that is allocated to the red subnet. The last network range that we have to deal with is the purple subnet. And like usual, we can't overlap with the previous 2 subnets, and a /30 CIDR notation has 4 available IP addresses. This means that it has a host IP address range of 192.168.0.192 192.168.0.195. Also, just as a small reminder, you can't use the first and the last available IP address range due to it being a network address and the broadcast address. So just keep that in mind. Now first, we'll start by enabling the interfaces on the routers. This is because Cisco routers on default have their interfaces on shutdown. And we can do that by going to admin configuration mode, enable, conft, and then we can go into the specific interface that we want to enable. In this case, int gigabit Ethernet 0/0, and use the no shutdown command. And as you can see here, it turned green, which means that the interface is now enabled. But this is pretty slow, and there is an easier command that we can use to enable all of the interfaces immediately. And we can do that by going int range g 0/1 to 2. And what that does is that it allows me to go into these 2 interfaces right here, gig 0/1 and gig 0/2, and I'm able to enable them both with just one command. Again, no shutdown, and now they're both up. Just a note, these amber nodes, they'll turn green soon. This is just because of STP. Don't worry about it. Now that all the links are green, we'll proceed with the next step. First, we'll start with the blue subnet. We will give an IP address to the default gateway, which is gig 0/0. To do that, we go into that specific interface, int g 0/0, and then we assign an IP address, and the command for that is IP address, and we'll have to specify the IP address, but we'll have to use one of the IP addresses from this network range. And since we can't use the first or the last one, I will go with 192.168.0.1. And the subnet mask has to be of a /25 CIDR notation. So in this case, it would be 255.255.255.128. This subnet mask has a /CIDR notation of 25. And now that that's done, we have to do it for the other interfaces. Gig 0/2 belongs to the red subnet, so we should do that first. Again, we'll go to that specific interface, and we can do that with int 0/2. Give it an IP address range of 192.168.0.129, and the subnet mask would be /26, which would be 255.255.255.192. Now for the purple subnet, we'll go to int g0/1, give an IP address range of 192.168.0.193, and a subnet mask of 252 at the end. Now that's all for the router. We'll move on to the configuration of the end devices themselves. And we can do that by clicking on the devices, going to IP configuration mode in desktop tab, and this is where we configure the IP addresses. Now since we're configuring PC0, we have to give it an IP address that belongs in the blue subnet, just like what we did for int g0/0 on the router interface, which is connected to the blue subnet. So in this case, it would be 192.168.0.2. You have to make sure that it doesn't overlap with the default gateway. And the default gateway would be .1, as we've specified earlier. And that is PC0 configured. We'll do the same for PC1. And this is the configuration for PC2 in the red subnet. This is the configuration for PC3. And this is the configuration for PC4 in the purple subnet. Just a quick reminder, for PC0 and PC1, the subnet mask is not 255.255.255.0. It's 255.255.255.128. I've made a mistake earlier. And right now we should be able to ping other PCs from other subnets from PC0. We'll first try to ping PC2 from the red subnet, and then after that we'll ping PC4 from the purple subnet. So we'll go to command prompt, ping. The IP address for PC2 is 192.168.0.130. And here we go, we've received a reply from PC2. Now for PC4. And here we go, we've also received a reply from PC4. That's it for the video today. If you've enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, as that would massively help the channel. Thank you very much and have a nice day.